Week 6 of the 2025 fantasy football season kicks off in just a few hours on Thursday Night Football with the Eagles going up against the Giants in MetLife. In today's video, before the chaos of Thursday Night Football ensues, we are going to be breaking down the top 40 running back rankings and tiers for week number 6 of the 2025 fantasy football season, helping you guys set your lineups at the running back position. Before we could get into things, though, please make sure if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video that you hit that subscribe button down below. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. We begin with the must-start running back ones tier, my first tier inside of the rankings video. Now, normally we just discuss 12 running backs because that is how many running backs are considered as RB1s if we are taking this as a 12-team league. But this time I included 13 running backs because I just love them all so much. Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Javonte Williams, Devon Achane, James Cook, Kyron Williams, Rico Dowdle, Ashton Genty, as well as Breece Hall. Now, Christian McCaffrey is going to be my running back one in my rankings every single week. I don't care if he has the best matchup for running backs on a per game basis or the worst matchup. This week, he's got a middle of the road matchup for the running back position up against the Bucs in Tampa Bay. Christian McCaffrey has been a top 8 running back every single week. He has yet to fall below the 20 PPR point threshold. The guy is simply incredible. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter if the wide receivers around him are healthy. It doesn't matter if George Kittle is healthy. Christian McCaffrey is the cog that runs the 49ers offense, and Christian McCaffrey is my RB1 every single week. At number 2, we got Jonathan Taylor going up against the Arizona Cardinals in what is a positive matchup for the running back position, the 13th best matchup on a per game basis. Going up against the Arizona Cardinals defense should be incredibly easy, like having a hot knife go through butter. Jonathan Taylor has been a top 2 running back in 3 of 5 games, the RB1 in 2 of 5 games, and has scored over 30 PPR points in 3 of 5 games. The guy is simply incredible. I don't need to sit here and give the Gawk 9000 special to Christian McCaffrey, to Jonathan Taylor, right? These are guys that have produced so well this season that regardless of the matchup, you are going to rank them this high. Next up, we got Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Buffalo Bills on the first of 2 Monday Night Football matchups. Bijan Robinson is dealing with an offense that has been very frustrating this season. We have seen the Atlanta Falcons offense look good. We have seen the Atlanta Falcons offense look like a complete and utter fucking dumpster fire. But even with the trials and tribulations of this offense, we have seen Bijan Robinson be a top 13 running back every single week and a top 7 running back in 3 of 4 games. Going up against the Buffalo Bills run defense here is a positive matchup, the 14th best matchup for the running back position. So we are going to bang the drum heavily for Bijan Robinson this week. Next up, we got Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, last season, just like this season, we have seen a bit of a slow start out of Josh Jacobs. He starts off the season at the RB18, followed by the RB21, then the RB19 prior to the bye, up against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World in prime time. He is the running back number 2. So sure, for some reason, things always start a little bit slow for Josh Jacobs, but once he gets going, he does not stop. Going up against the best matchup for the running back position, I feel incredible about Jacobs this week. Next up, we got Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions going up against the Kansas City Chiefs defense in Kansas City. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't necessarily lived up to where you drafted him in fantasy football because he hasn't necessarily been this stone cold lock to finish as a top 8, top 12 running back every single week, but he has yet to fall outside the top 15. He has yet to score fewer than 15 PPR points, and any given week, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs could take one dump off 99 yards straight to the crib. Now, going into this season, the Kansas City Chiefs matchup up against running backs would have scared the ever-living shit out of me, but this is just a mid-range matchup for the running back position. Jahmyr Gibbs is so good. The Lions offense is so good. This could be the highest scoring game of the week, so you obviously want Gibbs in your lineup. Next up, we got Saquon Barkley in a revenge game tonight up against the New York Football Giants in MetLife. Saquon Barkley, just like Jahmyr Gibbs, hasn't necessarily lived up to those peak high expectations that we put on him, but he has been very solid this season. He did have one slip up on the banana peel up against the LA Rams as the RB30, but as you figure out when you look at a lot of these running backs, the Rams has been a very tough matchup for running backs this far this season, regardless of how skilled they are. Going up against the Giants, I just feel like this is the perfect scenario, the perfect situation of sugar, spice, everything nice for Saquon Barkley to have a huge game, a top 8 matchup at the running back position. And we just saw the Philadelphia Eagles overcommit to the pass and fall straight on their face up against the Denver Broncos with a loss. So I think they're going to look to run the ball gently down the stream heavily in this game. They should be up big up against the Giants, and thus Saquon Barkley should be able to fall into a top 6 finish. Next up, we got another NFC East running back, and that's going to be Javonte Williams going up against the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Now, if the Dolphins offense didn't go completely stagnant, didn't fucking slam on the brakes in the second half up against the Carolina Panthers, I think Devon Achane would have absolutely ate that defense alive. This is a mid-range matchup for the running back position. Javonte Williams has been nothing short of incredible this season. He was a guy that I didn't love this summer because I have fallen for the Javonte Williams trap before. Shout out to Admiral Akbar. I have been the mouse looking for the cheese, and I end up getting my head absolutely caved in by the mouse trap, right? I have done that before with Javonte Williams. I talked myself so heavily into him last year. Another year removed from the injury. He's got it, and he looked completely washed. This season, he looks like a completely different running back, and I think at this point in the season, he just deserves to be ranked as a top 12 guy. In most weeks, his worst game was the RB20. His best game was the RB4. 3 of 5 games with 20 or more PPR points, and every game outside of one, he's had 19 or more PPR points. So Javonte, mid-range matchup, you got to be feeling good. Next up, we got Devon 2 Chains of the Miami Dolphins going up against the LA Superchargers. Now, in terms of a matchup, this is one where you want to be nervous. Going up against the Chargers defense, up against the run. They have been very stout this season, but Devon Achane simply just sees too much volume, especially in the receiving game. Last week, the guy up against the Carolina Panthers had 6 receptions, odd 7 targets for 30 receiving yards. He also found the end zone. While the Dolphins offense has been relatively far from ideal compared to what I thought I would get out of my Dolphins offense this season. And while Tua Tagovailoa has been very up and down, ultimately, even with the offense kind of stalling in the second half, Devon Achane still had a solid game. There's a guy that has a nose for the end zone. He scored in every single game outside of one. And because of the amount of receiving upside and floor he has weekly, even in a tough matchup, you can't be ranking him any lower than this. Next up, we got James Cook of the Buffalo Bills going up against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Interesting enough, the Buffalo Bills end up stumbling and bumbling in that game up against the New England Patriots, and that was the only game this season where James Cook didn't succeed. So while everyone loves to get down on their knees and give the Gawk Gawk 9000 special to Josh Allen, he carries the Buffalo Bills. Well, guess what? James Cook doesn't have a great game, and they lose to the Patriots. James Cook has been a top 10 running back every single week outside of last week, where he had just 15 carries for 49 yards and 1 target, 0 receptions, just 5 PPR points. I think brighter days are ahead, and after just 1 down game, you're not going to just full-on panic off of a guy like James Cook, who has been downright incredible through last season as well. This is the worst matchup for the running back position, but we did the exercise of looking through the schedule in the start-sit video, and that's really just because the Atlanta Falcons have had a very easy schedule in terms of the running backs that they have faced. Next up, we move to Kyren Williams of the LA Rams going up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens defense is so much worse than I think everyone expected them to be. This is a defense that is getting cream-pied by the running backs, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the tight ends. I mean, this is the second best matchup for the running back position. They made CJ Stroud last week look like the old version of CJ Stroud from his rookie year. They made a offensive line that is completely and utterly dog shit look like a brick wall. So with the Rams offense being a certified wagon, with Kyren Williams having the upside to in any given game score multiple touchdowns, we saw him score 2 touchdowns last week up against the 49ers as the RB number 3. He's just a guy that, sure, there have been some low games this season in such a great matchup like this. I think ranking him outside the top 12 would be foolish. Next up, we got, you might just get here with Rico McMillan Dowdle of the Carolina Panthers going up against the Dallas Cowboys this week. Last week, up against my Miami Dolphins. It was nothing short of absolute domination. I mean, the Dolphins defense was calling uncle in the first half, and Rico Dowdle just kept giving the Dolphins defense a metaphorical titty twister as the running back won 23 carries for 200 yards. The Dolphins defense sucks so much dick against the run. It is actually hilarious to watch because Rico Dowdle isn't the best running back in the NFL. Rico Dowdle is far from an elite running back in the NFL, and the Dolphins defense made this motherfucker look like Bo Jackson. He made this dude look like Adrian Peterson coming off the ACL. It was ridiculous. He was the RB1 last week. Now he goes up against the Dallas Cowboys in a revenge game for Rico Dowdle. I thought that the team was going to sign Rico Dowdle back. They don't. They push him to the side for Javonte Williams, which seems like the right move, because Javonte is better than Rico based on this season. But in a top 6 matchup for running backs, again, I don't think Chuba Hubbard's going to play. We are firing Rico Dowdle up with supreme confidence until Chuba Hubbard returns. Next up, we got Ashton Jeanty of the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Tennessee Titans at home in Viva Las Vegas this week. Now, the biggest problem with Ashton Jeanty isn't himself. He looks good. You watch him play, you watch him run, he runs angry, he runs mad, he runs motherfuckers over. He's very, very, very fun to watch. The problem is the offensive line isn't very good. The other problem is Geno Smith looks like he did some crack before each game because he's throwing the ball to the other team. He hit some of those, that ayahuasca that Green Bay Packers former quarterback Aaron Rodgers used to be on, right? Where he's like seeing things out there. You ever watch the movie Him? I watched that last night, that football horror movie where he's just seeing shit all the time. I don't want to spoil the movie, but he's seeing things all the time. I imagine that's how Geno Smith is out there. It's like he's Mason from Black Ops 1 hooked up to the fucking electric chair, seeing the numbers, Mason. What do they mean, right? That's how Geno Smith's brain is going when he drops back there. So going up against the Tennessee Titans defense, this is a matchup that is very positive for running backs, the 3rd best matchup on a per game basis. So I think Jeanty should bounce back, but we might have to start bumping him down to like the high-end RB2 range just because of genuinely how bad Geno Smith is. But we did just see how well DeMarcado played prior to the fumble and Carter played last week up against this defense. So I do feel good about Jeanty. Final guy in this tier is going to be Breece Hall going up against the Denver Broncos. Without Braylon Allen, we are going to be seeing more Breece Hall, but Isaiah Davis is still going to rear his ugly head, right? This isn't really a team that is going to go full on, hey, Breece Hall is now the workhorse running back, even though that should have been the game plan all year long. Breece Hall last week, RB12, up against the Dallas Cowboys in a good matchup. This week, he plays the Broncos in a game that's overseas. These games are always kind of weird, so I don't necessarily know what I want to think here. It's a below average matchup for running back, so again, I don't want to bang the drum too hard for him, but I think he will see enough of a receiving floor and might be able to snag one of those garbage time touchdowns that the Jets just love doing nothing for the first 3 quarters, and magically in the 4th quarter, they look like the Kansas City Chiefs a couple of years ago in their prime. So while I don't necessarily love Breece Hall, I do think he deserves to be ranked this highly just due to the amount of volume he should see, as well as the receiving work. And he hasn't scored a touchdown this year, so maybe this is the time in London where he gets it done at Tottenham Stadium. Next up, we move into tier number 2, which is going to be the high-end running back 2s with Rashad with 2 A's White, Quinshon Judkins, Travis Etienne, as well as Bill, Jacory, Krosky, Moret. But before we get on into the rest of the running back rankings and tiers for today's video, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends and our partner over at Underdog. If you're brand new to Underdog and sign up using promo code Notorious or by clicking on the link in the video description, you will get a free pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus funds, as well as if you play $5 in the pick'em, you receive an additional $100 in bonus funds or in bonus entries. If you're new to Underdog, you don't know how the pick'em works, it's incredibly simple. You make at least 2 picks. If both those picks hit, you get paid. If you do multiple other picks, the payout will be higher, but all the picks have to hit. So make sure you guys do check that out. Promo code Notorious or by clicking on the link in the video description. Now, Rashad White was a guy that we talked up last week without Bucky Irving. Seems like Bucky Irving's going to miss at least this week and may miss another game going forward, but I wouldn't project, based on everything that I have read, for him to miss a significant amount of time. I think if he was going to miss a significant amount of time, they probably would have just thrown him onto the IR and bit the bullet that way in a below average matchup up against the running back position, up against the 49ers. I don't really give a damn. I'm still going to be firing him up. I mean, this is just an offense that is a certified fucking wagon. This is an offense that could put up huge numbers game in and game out. We just saw them in a shootout up against the Seahawks in Seattle, where Mr. Rashad White scored, where today Junior, where he scored 2 touchdowns as the RB number 7. Well, I think he cools off a little bit due to the matchup. We did just see Kyron Williams hit them from the back. How you like that? So Rashad White needs to be ranked highly as a high-end RB2. Next up, we move to Quinshon Judkins of the Cleveland Browns going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Very shocking that the Steelers defense isn't amazing due to how much money they pay the defense. They are a top 12 matchup for the running back position, and Quinshon Judkins has been very valuable so far this season. Weeks 3 and weeks 4, he was a top 12 running back up against the Vikings in that matchup last week. He was the running back number 20. So I just think he's going to be a guy that's kind of flirting with being a top 12 back. Might not get it every single week, but he's a high-end running back too going forward, especially if Dillon Gabriel ends up being the truth, because it is very clear that Quinshon Judkins is the truth and they value him as the running back 1, 18 or more rushes in 3 straight games, and he also has the ability to get around 4 targets, 2 targets, 4 targets, and 2 targets over the last 3 weeks. Next up, we move to Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Seattle Seahawks at home in Duval. Now, despite the fact that that was a banger matchup up against the Kansas City Chiefs, a thriller of a primetime game, Travis Etienne finishes as the RB30, by far his worst finish on the season. In my opinion, with how Etienne has played, look, I've said so many negative things about Etienne in the past. I didn't love Etienne this year, even at ADP, which was flat out wrong. So while I have said those negative things about him, when a running back has played as well as Etienne has played this season, do we really want to panic after one down game in a matchup that is above average for the running back position on a per game basis? It's not like last week we saw Baishal Tootin steal the motherfucker's job. He just didn't perform as well. He's still averaging 5.8 yards per carry on the season, 3 touchdowns in 5 games. I still feel very good about him. Next up, we got Bill Nye the Science Guy, Ja'Cory Krosky-Moret, Little Bill himself. He had his breakout game last week up against the Chargers in SoFi. 14 carries for 111 yards, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 39 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, deep down in my loins, I do still slightly worry about the fact that maybe the team as a whole hasn't had the epiphany yet that they need to feed Bill, where they haven't came to the realization that they really need to heavily utilize Bill and throw Chris Rodriguez and throw Jeremy McNichols into the cuck chair to watch from the side. This motherfucker is averaging 6.6 yards per carry. He has scored a grand total of 4 touchdowns through 5 games and really only got a good enough workload last week. So if they just keep him getting 15 plus touches a week, then I think we're to be liking Bill a ton. Going forward, the matchup this week is up against the Chicago Bears, which is a top 5 matchup for the running back position. So we should be able to see him keep up this heat this week. Now we move on into the third tier here, which is going to be the mid-range running back 2s with J.K. Dobbins and I'm a scat man, bop, Billy Bop, Cam Skattebo. J.K. Dobbins has scored a touchdown every single week outside of week 4 in a game where they pummeled the ever-living shit out of the Bengals. So they let R.J. Harvey score the touchdown late in the game. He scored last week up against the Eagles. In terms of matchup up against the Jets, this is a top 10 matchup for the running back position, and where J.K. Dobbins has been a top 16 running back every single week outside of that down week up against the Bengals, where they just pulled the plug on him early and let R.J. Harvey get that shine, let the rookie get the shine late in the game, then Dobbins should just be ranked as a running back 2 going forward in the mid-range. Maybe him finishing as like a top 5 running back might seem unobtainable, but if he's going to keep finishing as a mid-range RB2, why not just keep ranking him here, right? You've liked playing him so far this season. Next up, we got Cam Skattebo, the final guy in this tier. Now, Tyrone Tracy is expected to be back tonight, but this really is the backfield of Cam Skattebo. I don't see any reason why, based on how Tracy has looked this season compared to how Skattebo has looked this season when both are healthy, in what world would you go back to what Tyrone Tracy was doing compared to how Cam Skattebo has played? In terms of a matchup up against the Philadelphia Eagles, this is going to be a game where they're going to be playing down. Up against the running back position, this is a top 8 matchup, but I would caution yourself when it comes to regard to this matchup that they're going to be down, so they're going to have to throw. So hopefully Scatterboot can get 5+ targets. He's seen 5+ targets twice this season, 7 targets last week, 8 up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not a guy that I see really truly blowing up, having that huge game, but a guy that feels reliable enough. Next up, we move into the 4th tier, which is the lower mid-range running back 2s, even though it is just one guy, and that's going to be Jaylen Warren going up against the Cleveland Browns. The only reason why I didn't rank him higher is because the Cleveland Browns defense has been incredible up against running backs this season, a bottom 3 matchup for the running back position, and Jaylen Warren is coming off of an injury, so maybe there are some concerns that, hey, maybe they give Kenneth Gainwell a little bit more run, maybe he has earned a little bit more run due to how he performed in that last game up against the Vikings in Ireland, but ultimately, I don't think one great game out of Kenneth Gainwell is going to throw Jaylen Warren off of the throne, off the Iron Throne, right? Don't think he's Jamie Lannister. He's going to be the King Slayer. So Jaylen Warren should be able to get enough dump-offs in this game to be, again, a top 20-ish running back, which is exactly where I have him ranked this week. Next up, we move into tier number 5, which is the low-end RB2s with Michael Carter, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, and David Montgomery. It absolutely breaks my heart that I have to say that Derrick Henry is ranked this low, but honestly, you might even want to rank him lower at this point. Michael Carter is the clear RB1 in Arizona. Amari DeMarcado, any chance of a claim that he has to become the running back 1 is absolutely in the gutter after he pearled a Adonai Mitchell and fumbled the ball late on in this game. They're playing up against A.D. Mitchell this week. Last week, Michael Carter was the RB number 9, 18 carries for 51 yards, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 22 yards, and a touchdown. Going up against the Indianapolis Colts defense for a running back is a far from ideal matchup. They rank 25th up against the running back position, so not really feeling the best about Michael Carter, but he should get enough volume to be fine enough if you do have to play him. Next up, we got Derrick Henry going up against the LA Rams. Now, we've talked about in this video, the LA Rams are a very, very, very tough task for running backs. The Baltimore Ravens offense looks completely and utterly inept without Lamar Jackson. They look completely limp dick. Derrick Henry could backdoor himself into the end zone like he did last week up against the Texans and ultimately save him. But that week 1 performance where he scores damn near 30 points as the RB1 up against the Buffalo Bills feels like a season ago at this point with how bad he's been since then. Next up, we move to DeAndre Swift going up against the Washington Commanders in Washington. Now, I say this every single week about DeAndre Swift, and I'm going to say it again. DeAndre Swift is a fine running back. He's not great. He's not good. He's not bad. He's fine, right? And I think the team coming out the bye should realize this and give Kyle Monaghy more run. But I don't think that will actually happen. And DeAndre Swift has been a top 24 running back in 3 or 4 games, a top 28 running back every single week. He's not the kind of guy that is even good enough to go out there and take advantage of a super positive matchup, right? If he was going up against a run defense like the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Baltimore Ravens, I don't even think he could take advantage of that. This is a below average matchup for the running back position up against the Commanders, but it could be a high scoring game. He could score a touchdown and he's going to keep your head above water, right? That is what he does. He doesn't completely fuck you over, but he's never really going to win you your week. Next up, we got Alvin Kamara going up against the New England Patriots. It's important to kind of put one of those, a post-it note on it, put a, whatever those little tack, like a tack into this statement, because he injured his ankle in practice and he's considered day-to-day. The fact that he's hurt definitely isn't ideal. The fact that Kendre Miller has been seeing more work isn't ideal. So the reason why we put a tack in this is, hey, if he doesn't play, then obviously we want to move up Kendre Miller. If he does play, this is where I would have him ranked. Bad matchup for running backs. We just saw James Cook get locked up, don't let me out, by this defense last week. Alvin Kamara has just not been great this season. Let's be honest. The first 2 weeks, 14 plus points in both games. That's fine. I know what you expect out of a guy you draft as running back too. But ever since then, running back 41, 29, 27 last week. The touchdown upside doesn't seem high. The fact that they're using Kendre Miller more hurts him. Should still get 5+ dump off. So he's going to be okay. But I don't think anyone's excited to play him. Like, this is the range of running backs where you're playing them if you have to, but you're not really excited about it. Final guy in this tier is going to be David Montgomery going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Should be the highest scoring game of the week in terms of a matchup for a running back. This is the middest matchup of them all, the 18th highest ranked matchup for the running back position. In great matchups like up against the Bengals, David Montgomery is going to feast. In bad matchups for running backs, David Montgomery goes on a milk carton. He goes on a missing poster like we saw up against the Browns in week 4 with just 1 fantasy point. I do think, though, that's kind of like the nut low game out of David Montgomery. Even in bad matchups, he should be able to get you like 8 to 10 points. So while I'm not very excited about this spot here, the high scoring nature could mean that he could score multiple touchdowns like he did last week. I mean, last week he fucking threw a touchdown up against the Bengals. Now we move on into the 6th tier at the running back position, the high-end running back 3s, with the teammates of the Seattle Seahawks, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, going up against the Jaguars in Duval. Now, the reason why I have both these guys ranked so low is because we kind of already have the script before the game is played. We know what's going to happen. Kenneth Walker is going to get 10 to 20 carries. He's going to look good doing so. He's going to finish outside the top 24, but he's going to look very good. And you're just praying the whole time that when he has those big runs, those big bursts that you're known, Kenneth Walker is known for, he finds the end zone. Because if he doesn't find the end zone and he is a micro penis away from scoring a touchdown, if he is a nut hair away from scoring a touchdown, he falls on the 0.1 inch line, they are going to pull him out and put Charbonnet in, and he is going to score the touchdown. So while you know Kenneth Walker is going to look good, while I know Kenneth Walker is going to be hitting the Jacksonville Jaguars matchup at the running back position, mid-range matchup, he's going to be hitting them from the back, you know damn well he's not going to score a touchdown, and it's going to piss you off. Charbonnet, on the other hand, will probably look, right? He won't look as good as Kenneth Walker, but he will get his opportunities to score. He scored a touchdown in 3 of 4 games he's played in last season. He scored a touchdown in back-to-back weeks. And while he hasn't looked great, far from great, he's averaging 2.8 yards per carry, he's still probably going to get the touchdown, and you're going to be pissed because you wish it was Kenneth Walker. Now we move on into the 7th tier here, which is going to be the rest of the RB3s with Tony Pollard, Chase Brown, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, and Kareem Hunt. Now, Tony Pollard is going up against the Viva Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas this week. Tony Pollard's another one of these guys where it's like just a worse version of DeAndre Swift because you feel just better about the Bears offense than you do with the Titans. Tajay Spears is back. He's going to keep cutting more and more into this workload. Best game of the season so far last week up against the Arizona Cardinals as the RB17 because he scored a touchdown. But again, you don't really expect this offense to be all that great, which means you can't really even count on a touchdown for Tony Pollard, even if he is the clear lead back. Now, this is a top 10 matchup for running back, so maybe this gets Tony Pollard into that top 18 range again. But I don't think anyone is really that excited to play Tony Pollard just strictly because the offense is so bad they're not able to get him into scoring positions. Next up, we got Chase Brown going up against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. In terms of a matchup up against the Packers, this is far from an ideal one. In terms of the situation as a whole in Cincinnati, is far from ideal. The offensive line reeks to high heaven. Joe Flacco, I don't think is significantly better than Jake Browning. I think Chase Brown's going to kind of just sit in the same range every single week. Now, he did have 8 targets last week, so if cool Joe Flacco checks him down the ball 6 or 7 times this week, then he could end up finishing higher than where I have him ranked, but I wouldn't bet on that. Next up, we got the LA Superchargers running backs, Hassan Haskins, as well as Kamani Vidal. If I had to bet which running back will score more points, it would be Hassan Haskins, but I also think it could be Kamani Vidal. In my opinion, there's going to be close to a 50-50 split, at least for what we saw last week, as well as what the coaching staff has said so far, which will probably just be a double-headed backfield of death where you're always starting the wrong guy. Now, based upon the matchup up against the Dolphins, I think they'll be up. I think they'll be winning. So you'll see more Hassan Haskins, whereas you would see more Kamani Vidal if they were down. But I can't necessarily guarantee that because while the Dolphins are a complete and utter disaster, the Chargers' offensive line is severely banged up, and they're a team that is falling really, really heavily right now. So Hassan Haskins could find the end zone. The Dolphins defense sucks donkey cock, so he should be able to potentially score, but I don't think you can rank them either guy much higher than this, even though this is a wet dream matchup, and if things do go south, then Kamani Vidal might be able to find the end zone late in the game. He might get more dump-off opportunities. Next up is Travion Henderson and his teammate Ramondre Stevenson. Now, Antonio Gibson is out for the season. He is on IR, out for the year, so you would think this is going to push Travion Henderson to get the best workload of the season, but it just seems like Travion Henderson fucked Josh McDaniels' wife or something, because for some reason, Travion Henderson doesn't get enough touches. For some reason, they are unable to commit to him. Why? I know why. He has not been good in pass protection. He's got a bunch of penalties. That's why, but without Antonio Gibson, I just feel like he has to get more looks, but until he does, you can't rank him any higher than this. Ramondre Stevenson, the guy has fumbling problems. He walks around like, instead of back in the day, you know how the receivers used to put stickum on his hands? This dude is putting lube on his hands before the game because he can't hold onto the ball. And still, like Bruce Buffer, he scores 2 touchdowns last week. He might not be able to hold on to the ball, but he scores 2 touchdowns. So it just sucks. It really just sucks, because you know if they gave Henderson the ball more, once he figures this things out, like, he's going to be very good. He's like Walmart Jahmyr Gibbs Jr. Great matchup against the Saints, but I just don't trust Ramondre, and I definitely do not trust Travion Henderson. Next up, we move to Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt scores 2 touchdowns last week. This is basically a 50-50 split in terms of touches, and this seems like Pacheco's backfield in terms of the snaps. Going up against the Detroit Lions, again, this might be the highest scoring game of the week, so I could see Kareem Hunt scoring a touchdown here. Bad matchup for the running back position, though. And again, why even bother playing the guessing game? Now we move on into the final tier here. Tier number 8, the YOLO RB4s with Isaiah Pacheco, Kendre Miller, RJ Harvey, Tyler Algier, and Kenny Gainwell. Pacheco seems like he's playing second fiddle. Pacheco continues to look way better than Kareem Hunt, but he doesn't get the goal line work, so he's kind of just stuck down here. Then we got Kendre Miller. If Alvin Kamara doesn't play, we move Kendre Miller up. If Alvin Kamara does play, he'll probably score like 6 fantasy points. He doesn't see really any targets in this offense. Wouldn't be shocked if he didn't have a single target. Should get 10 to 12 carries for like 50-ish yards. That's kind of all he is, and if he scores, you'll be happy. If not, you'll be mad. Then we got RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey kind of just can't seem to firmly get a grasp of this backfield with Dobbins healthy, which is why we have Dobbins ranked so highly. RJ Harvey's going to get, 2 to 5 targets a game, which can elevate him into being start-worthy. But at this point, again, like, you don't want to be starting any of the guys ranked this low. Tyler Algier going up against the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Algier could see 18 touches this week. I wouldn't be surprised. He could see 6 touches, and I wouldn't be surprised. And that's really the guessing game you're playing with him. He's also scored a touchdown in half the games this year, 2 of 4 games with the touchdown. So up against the Bills, if the Atlanta Falcons can get your head in the game, stay in this game, then maybe Tyler Algier could find pay dirt. But ultimately, again, why risk it? Then we got Kenneth Gainwell going up against the Cleveland Browns. Really rough matchup, I know. He's coming off of a heater of a game up against the Vikings prior to the bye, where he scores 2 touchdowns, 99 rushing yards, 6 receptions on 6 targets for 35 yards as the RB3. And I think he has clearly staked this claim as a handcuff that you want on your bench. You have Jaylen Warren, you want Kenneth Gainwell, but ultimately, that's really all I see him as. Maybe he gets more of a piece of the pie, but if he had 5 total touches this week, would you be surprised? Because I wouldn't. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying today's video, make sure you guys uppercut that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video to help you out a ton. Check out the Patreon link in the video description. Down below for $12.50 a month, I put all my rankings on there, full PPR and half PPR, to answer every single question on there. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I love you so much. Check out one of the videos on the screen if you haven't seen them already. As always, good boy.